Thanks for tuning into the Artemis channel today. This is our first podcast. This is In the Blind.
And we are getting your Clem.
It's a fawn feather. We're going to talk about our first trip to Texas. This was a spot where Tom got his first ever kill. Yeah, we've got 110 acres of low fence with another 300-ish of high fence that we weren't able to hunt, but we were able to kind of check out and see. He's got elk, he's got fallow, he had axis, black buck, right? So we had all of that stuff that we were able to see that. When we got to the ranch that we were headed to, the first thing we did was get on the range. Get on the range. Why don't you talk about how the frustration you were having with that particular weapon?
Oh, completely forgot about that.
Well, I'm sure that you did.
More like I had put it out of my mind.
That's my point. Yeah.
I had built a rather nice AR style in 6.5 Grendel, which was becoming all the rage. Had a nice custom barrel, had very nice customized lower, and I had probably shouldn't mention brands or anything, right?
Mention whatever you want.
Well, it was my first foray into a digital scope, and it was a digital night scope. And so we set up. I mean, it was breezy, but it wasn't windy. And they put some targets out at 100 yards, and we all popped off 3 shots. Me with my Grendel, Tom with
my Marlin that decided to cooperate that trip.
Cooperated both trips, if I
somehow
very well.
As soon as we go 3 hours up north in our own state.
Yeah.
Nothing. It collects dust wonderfully now.
Yeah. Well, we'll get that taken care of.
I know.
And then I brought 2 guns.
I have 2 guns, one for each of you.
Anyway, so Tom's got his Remington, and he was on paper. He was good. I had my not your Remington, your Marlin in 35 Remington, and you were on paper. I shot my 30-06, that was fine, and then I had a purpose-built AR that I built. So I've got a Aero Precision upper and lower with a 20-inch Faxon matched barrel. ViewTech, is that the right way to say that? Adjustable gas block, a little Russian guy out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Oh, Wojtek.
Yeah. Okay. It's not spelled that way. Don't ask me how it's spelled, but yeah. It's very Russian.
Great guy. I've spoken to him on the phone. He's awesome. Adjustable gas block.
Odin Works, bolt carrier group with a Vortex scope, 4x12, and then a Samson hand grip.
Dumbass monkey brain. Here's all these different parts of all these ARs. I'm just like, I can't handle it.
You sat that out. You chose to sit
I
that
chose
out.
not to, and then I saw you take it apart to clean it, and it was a full 40-minute process, and mine just run the bore snake down, and then I was done. I was like, why would I ever want anything more complicated?
Having said that,
And where is that rifle
Where
now?
is that rifle now?
Replaced with a bolt action, which makes even more sense.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
All right.
So Steve pops off a couple of shots with the
30-06 and the AR,
Yep.
which Matt was
6.5 Creedmoor.
6.5 Creedmoor. The rancher immediately was like, "Oh, let me see that."
Yeah, he was all over that. Well, that's a nice looking rifle. It really is.
And then he informed us that we would be shooting Dall Sheep, Texas Dall Sheep, or Corsican Dall Sheep, depending on how you want to look at it. These aren't Alaskan Dall Sheep. He knows where they are on the property. He took us right to them.
Not one thing.
I, however, was not even on the paper with this grant.
Right, let's get back to that. Sure, Clem was struggling on his Grendel, and that's why I brought 2 guns, just in case we had a problem with one.
Thankfully.
It's not like New Hampshire hunting where we're separated and, we're all together, and really we could have done it with 1 gun.
True.
I think we ended up doing it with 1 gun.
That's our second trip.
Yeah, second trip, yeah.
We'll talk about that. So Clem took my...
Yeah, so the Grendel goes back in the case, and I'm hating life.
Yeah.
Is that the same trip where it went missing in Chicago?
That was the second
trip.
We'll get to that one. That's another one.
There's a whole bunch of bad stuff that happens to your equipment.
So we go for a ride.
And then the rancher tells us that we will be shooting 2 ewes and a ram, and had we decided who was going to shoot the ram. And we all 3 looked at each other, and he said, "You guys gotta be kidding me, you haven't figured this out yet?" And then I remember, if I remember correctly, I said, our host was with us, we're going to call him Jeff. Jeff was with us. I said, Jeff's going to think of a number between
1 and 10.
1 and 10. He had the number, Clem guessed, I guessed, and Tom guessed.
7.
And Tom guessed.
The number was 7.
Correctly, so Tom got to shoot the ram. And I don't think the other 2 gentlemen, Clem and I obviously knew this, the other 2 guys didn't know that this was Tom's first kill. So that was kind of a treat to have him get the ram.
Super nervous.
Right up to the herd.
Super nervous up until the point I saw it in the crosshairs. And then it was total just...
So let's back up a little bit.
To the rancher's credit,
he
was
coached us up
incredible
really well.
coach.
Yeah, he coached you up as to where to shoot it, how to shoot it, what to do, what to expect. And, we've got footage of that right here so you guys can see that.
Folding that up.
Yeah, dropped him, as I said. So that goes in here.
I remember he was like, "Keep your scope on him," and all I saw was a leg. I'm like, can't really keep a scope on a hoof.
We were standing back, we heard the shot, and it went down, and then his legs in the air. And
Just dropped it.
we cheer? I think we cheer.
I don't think we cheered because we were still...
You both were doing like this.
It was quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we stayed quiet.
Okay, and then it was my turn to shoot, and I had a misfeed with the AR, which really kind of set me off for the morning.
So I grabbed
The
30-06,
Yeah.
the old Woodmaster,
Yeah.
bring it up to give it to Steve. But Steve stepped back with the AR. The rancher grabbed me, put me on the sticks. And he said, "Okay, you're up." So we had been watching this herd of Dall sheep, and there was one with a limp. One of the ewes had a limp, and she was kind of in the back. And the rancher said, "See that one in the back?" I said, "Are you talking about the one that's been limping?" He says, "Yeah, can you take that one?" And I said, "Sure." And I figured it was about 75-ish yards. And I was trying to get a clear shot through the rest of the herd. And he said, "Can you take a headshot?" That's all I needed to hear. Bang, she was down. And I stepped back watching her. She was done. And then Steve was ready. And the herd kind of dispersed.
The herd dispersed at that point. So did we get in the ATV, or did Matt and I get off on foot?
Well, that was after we painted blood on my fist.
That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
so
we loaded those 2 in.
We took pictures. We did the grip and grins. We loaded them in.
yeah, we did the grip and grins, and because the rancher became very aware that
It was my first time.
Tom had never killed an animal before, so he painted Tom's face with blood, which really made it a real treat for him. He took a real shine to Tom, which was fun.
We kept it on the whole day.
Yeah, can I take
Great
this?
to see.
Can I take this off?
It's
Like,
like-
dude, you're a grown ass
We were
man.
about to leave. We were about to leave the restaurant. Like, did I take this off before we go to that crazy, weird general store?
Oh, that's a story by itself.
Right. So
So we brought these back to the truck. We gave the herd a little more time to kind of coalesce, and then it was Steve's turn, and Steve was up in the
we
front
drove
seat.
we drove off on the ATV, and Matt got us to the area where where we were going to shoot, and he had me pick one, and I made a poor shot. And I was still upset about the misfire. So I made a poor shot, and we took off after the herd, and he assured me that this was not going to be like chasing whitetails. They're going to go over there. They're not going far. Are you hurt? Are you injured in any way? And I said, no. He's okay. Step where I step. And, off we went through the cedars, avoiding rattlesnakes as we went. And, we went tearing ass through the woods looking for the herd. We caught up to the herd, and it was about 100 yards through the cedars, and he had me shoot through an area like this that I never would have shot if it was up to me. If I was alone or I was with one of these guys, I wouldn't have shot. And he said, see that V in that cedar over there, and that's where you're shooting. That's right on the spot that you need. And down she went. The more fun of it was really watching Clem's reaction. Where did you shoot from? I shot from here. And where did you shoot? See that V over there? And you made that shot? I'm like, yeah.
I got down on my knees to look. Wow, that was pretty impressive.
So considering I had made a bad shot and I was upset, I got mad and I was able to get focused. So that was kind of a lesson in marksmanship for me, that I need to pay attention to all this stuff and not have to get emotional and just go, yeah, I got this, bang. Which I didn't learn that lesson. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too when we get hog hunting. So we get those animals.
About 2 hours.
Yeah.
We had 3 sheep.
Texas Dalls. We took them.
Ranger skinned them out in about 15 minutes.
30 seconds of whack.
Zing.
Yeah, ding, done. And we had them loaded up in a truck and headed to Woodbury's in
Ingram,
Texas. And we did that, and we got those in there. I can remember when we left that he was quite, not at the Woodbury's, at the ranch, was quite surprised that we were going to eat those. And he gave us a bottle of spices to put on them, and was incredulous until we sent him pictures of, backstrap with, bourbon butter sauces and all the stuff that we know how to do with our kills.
I think that's entirely because there's much better things to eat down there.
Oh yeah, and we learned that very quickly as well.
There's tons of different things you can eat down there instead of those guys.
So that was Tom's first experience in that. Can you tell us what that felt like?
Good. There's not much. I mean, there wasn't really much to it. Like when we called the numbers and my number was up, it was nerve-wracking in the ride down to where they were. But as soon as the tripod was set up and everything was set up, and basically my hand was held to squeeze the trigger, I was fine. Like as soon as this crosshairs.
Well, he coached you, but you did the work.
Yeah. Did I though? I don't know. It wasn't like it's here though.
It was probably, that was a 45, 50 yard shot.
Not as far as the Axis shot the next
No.
year. That one's I'm much more proud of.
No, but it was perfect.
Yeah.
You just drilled him right where you needed to, and he went down, and a beautiful animal. Beautiful animal.
My one memory I have of my girlfriend's grandmother is that my girlfriend showed her that picture of me gripping the animal, and she said that was the ugliest thing she had ever seen. And then getting that whole thing settled with Marissa's a whole different thing about where is it going to go once it's stuffed and backed.
I'd like to talk about that. We went down to Woodbury's Taxidermy in Ingram, which is world renowned for their taxidermy.
But we didn't know
for
at the time.
good reason.
We didn't know at the time. We just figured this is just another taxidermy place. We were wrong. They gave us a complete tour of the place.
You were not sold until you saw the moose from Alaska.
I didn't care. I 100% didn't care. We go through each of these different rooms, and there's a room the size of this basement, and it's full of Texas whitetail. And you go to another room, and it's full of Texas axis. And you go to another room,
It's a meat processing room.
and it's a meat processing room full of sides of venison.
Nilgai and
all this stuff. Yeah. And then we get to another room, and there's a moose head. And I come around a corner, and I look at it, and in my head, I go, moose in Texas?
And I seem to remember you saying out loud, wow, that's a nice moose. And then you went, a long pause, and you went, there's no moose in Texas.
And I grabbed the tag, and it was from an outfitter in Anchorage. And that's when I kind of went, oh, wait a minute.
And there was another one behind it.
These guys are big deals.
And then we went to the huge warehouse area they had that had everything.
Elk,
Polar bear,
African,
giraffes.
There was a giraffe bust that it was so impressive. It was huge. It really brings home the size of that animal. I don't know how long it was, but it was huge. It had to be 30 feet.
I loved the juxtaposition between the giraffe and then right next to it was the pair of dicks.
Yep. That's right.
Go ahead.
I needed to say it because it's such a funny name. Who names an animal that? It's like that in Woodcock. It's like all those bird names are stupid.
They had everything. They had javelina.
Yeah.
They were working on mounting bobcats and mountain lions.
So they were spray painting the scenery for a mountain lion. They had like one room dedicated just to scenery and foliage and stuff.
The artists that they
True
employ
artists.
there are amazing. From the room where they sculpt the underlayment, that the hides and everything
The
go
warehouse
on,
floor.
to the eyes, to the you name it. It's amazing. It's something to see, and that's when we we realized just how big a deal the place
And
is.
how special they are. And
I remember they asked, because we were looking at one of the shoulder mounts, which shows more of the side of the animal. They're like, "Do you want yours like that?" And I was like, "Well, that's where I shot it, so no." I remember having that conversation too.
Mm-hmm.
Tom ended up with a full, I guess you'd call that a shoulder mount.
Is that a shoulder or is that a bust?
Bust is on a pedestal.
It is? Okay.
All right, well, this is what it looks like.
It's upstairs.
Okay, because his girlfriend doesn't want him looking at her. Him being the Dall Sheep, not Tom.
But if you follow down to the very edge of that pelt, that's where he shot it.
Thanks for tuning into our first podcast. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time.